Hello, my friend. I'm Dan Klatt. I'm founder of OperationGreatness.com, and I am also the author of the book Reignited America. I'm really inspired to have this conversation with you. I am asking that you allow this to completely transform your whole life. I'm very sincere about this. This is a new way of seeing everything that's happening in your life, because everything that is in your life is a lesson, it is a blessing, and it is also an opportunity. Everything, no exceptions. So by you pausing and reflecting on this, really seeing this, and this is like the new framework through which you are experiencing life. Wow, everything that happens is a lesson, is a blessing, is an opportunity. What is the lesson in this for me? What is the blessing, or what are the blessings, actually even what are the lessons, plural, in this for me? And where is the opportunity? Where are the opportunities here as well? Because that's where you shift your focus, instead of like, well, what's the most pressing thing in your life right now? Bring that to mind. You might even get a little like stress, or you might get tense. You might feel anxiety by giving this your attention, and you see how that's non-supportive. That doesn't help you. That doesn't serve you. That's missing the whole point of that thing happening in your life, because now with this insight, with you knowing this truth, wait a minute, this is a lesson for me. This is also a blessing for me, and this is also an opportunity. You see how it's not, this is happening to me, like I'm helpless, I'm a victim. This is life just cursing me, or because I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy of the things I want, because life is hard. You see how that's all a lie? It's a story, and it's a false story. It's wrong. And if you were holding that story, I'm just unlucky. Nothing I want, I ever... if you're telling yourself, if you're feeding your mind, if you're manifesting that result, that's disempowering, that's false, that's so limiting who you are and how much you are here to contribute meaningfully to others, which is why you are here. You do know that, right? You have so much gifts to share with the world. You are here to be you're here to be an inspired visionary leader. That is your lesson from even the adversities, the challenges, the stresses, the horrific things you have endured. They were here, all of them, to serve you. Really hear this message. You see how transformational this is? To really understand this, to see this, to embrace this. And even if it happened 30 years ago or 40 years ago, or when you were 3 years old or 5 or 10, it was there to serve you even this moment right now. If it happened 30 years ago, it was a gift, and if you did not yet receive that gift, if you're still holding that away from you as like, oh, that's very painful, I have to lock that away in the cabinet. That's like taking the gift, like it could be a diamond ring, and it's like, no, I can't face that. It's too stressful, like the pearl within the oyster. But that oyster is kind of like, oh, what if it bites me? I could get hurt by that. And then you just stuff it away. You shove it down. Well, that gift is still there within you for you to receive this very moment. So what is that? What it was that most traumatic experience in your lifetime that you push down, you shove down because, oh, I have to withdraw that, hide from that because it's scary to me. It's causing me great anxiety, stress, angst. Well, no, that's the packaging, and that packaging holds within it the keys to your liberation, how you are here to be a great inspired leader, someone who is having a positive contribution to the world. I mean, like the stereotypical example that comes to mind, which is a stereotype because it's so common, like let's say the girl or the woman was violated by the man in her life, some man or some relative of hers, and she felt she had to, because she didn't know any better, because she didn't have a positive role model or guide or inspiration in her life until those people came into her life many years later, like this video, for example. And so she felt she needed to shield herself from that memory because that was when she was helpless and weak and something horrific happened to her, or a man or a boy, this happens to boys too, and whatever it was. And so they stuffed that down, and they said I'm not going to be defined by that. Well, what was the gift within that? That's just the package. Open the package and receive the gift. Or if it was some childhood illness or a disease, dis-ease, right? Meaning you were, or that person was not living in harmony or balance. So here again, this insight with the 3 focal points. What is the lesson within this for me? What are the lessons? And go deep and peel away the layers of the onion to reach the core. Because everything that happens to you is for your betterment. So how could me having this horrific thing happen to me when I was 5, how could that have been for my betterment? What is the lesson within this for me? Okay, well, let me see this. Like, for example, I'm looking at this from the standpoint of the girl who had this happen to her by her father, perhaps. And, okay, well, what happened as a result of me experiencing this? I made the story, the conclusion, that I'm not deserving of love. Okay, so that was how I held this until now. Is that really true? Or was that a false, what fear means, right? False experience appearing real. Did I just respond or react to this horrific thing happening to me, and I made a false conclusion, and I believed that conclusion, and therefore I turned away how many wonderful people in my life who wanted to love me, but because I made that conclusion that the only way that this could happen is if I was unworthy, undeserving in all areas of my life, probably this person would have concluded. You see how asking this question, what are the lessons in this for me, when in fact I believed I was not worthy, but that was not true. This was just a sick person who was a victim of that himself, and that person was just unhappy, feeling so unworthy himself. He did this to me, and yet that was just a person who never got the help he needed himself. And this was his way. It was completely inappropriate, unacceptable, inexcusable. But this was just a sad, weak person who lashed out on me. And that had nothing to do with me. That was all this person. And you see, you're going deep. And then you can have forgiveness for that person. You can forgive the person without accepting what was done to you. That was not okay, for sure. I mean, hear that for sure. But just so you're not feeling betrayed and you're not feeling helpless and weak, because so what is so you're thinking about the lessons and you're going deep within that. How is this meant to serve me? This is a blessing for me. Are you kidding me? For this to happen to me when I was just 5 years old or 10 or 13 or whatever, how is that a blessing for me? Okay, well, maybe that's a little hard to accept. Let's look at what is the opportunity in this for me. What are the opportunities here? Well, now I know what it's like to feel someone violating me, so that means I can help so many other girls who had this happen to them. I can even help the people, like the men who had this happen to them when they were a child, so they don't see themselves as unworthy or unlovable, undeserving of love and affection and genuine connection and family, so that they know that they're not alone, so that they know that they are a good person and they don't violate anyone else. That cycle ends here. So you can become a counselor, a coach, a therapist, a peer leader, and you can create a group, a nonprofit organization, a movement, like the Me Too movement. You remember when that was pretty big, like around Harvey Weinstein and all of the people he violated. And, just as one person, one example of a predator in Hollywood. And that created, that was part of the whole human trafficking thing that the Hollywood entertainment industry became, because of people who were violated themselves and they didn't get the help, and so they took out their unresolved issues on other people. Well, you can be the one that intervenes and that ends that paradigm, ends that whole system of violation and abuse. You have it within you. That's the opportunity, because you experience this. You know how horrific that is. You know how it's unconscionable to do that to another person. You know what the people who had that done to them, what that's like for them. I mean, this is just one example of like the most horrific thing that I can imagine. And we're going deeper into that. And yet, whatever it was for you, I mean, like for me, when I think of what was the most upsetting thing that happened to me, was when I was teased a lot in high school and in junior high school by other kids. And this was a turning point for me. I don't have it. It's up there, I guess. My book, Experience Unconditional Love, this year. I guess it's over there in the other studio. My book, Experience Unconditional Love, this year, when that was coming through, I saw that by these people pointing out my flaws and making fun of me, they were misdirecting or redirecting the attention of the other classmates, so that by pointing out my flaws, they were thinking that other people would not point out their flaws and make fun of them. It was a redirect, and for me to recognize that, remember these questions: what are the lessons within this for you? How is that a blessing for you, and what are the opportunities within you experiencing that thing? So, for me, being picked on or bullied when I was a kid, I know what it's like to have low self-esteem, because I had to overcome that from this treatment that I received growing up. So I can have empathy for you and the things that happen to you, and that serves me so much as your coach, because I can relate, I can feel you, I can remember what it was like when I was picked on and laughed at and made to feel small. I can relate to that. I know what it's like to go through feeling like you are unworthy and unlovable and undeserving of the things you want, of happiness, of peace. I can relate to that because I experienced that myself. I felt like I didn't matter. Can you relate to that? That's probably a result of the trauma that you endured. And now you can be that person serving so many other people because you experience this pain, this betrayal, this isolation, this trauma, this stress, this horrific thing. Now you can help everyone else who has gone through that, and you can be that source of healing for them. That's the opportunity within this. How is this a blessing in your life? Because, well, let me ask you that question. Whatever happened to you, how was that a blessing for you? How is that still a blessing for you? What are the gifts within this for you to receive right now? Maybe it's for you to recognize that the person is not that person's behavior, and this was just to see this person differently. Yes, this person, whoever did whatever that was to you, yes, it should not have happened, of course not, and yet it did happen. So now you have a choice. You can see that person as evil, and you can see yourself as helpless and weak and not deserving of love, or you can see, wow, that was just a weak person acting out in anger or frustration with unhealed wounds. That was a wounded person who did that to me. And everything that I concluded about that was wrong. I am worthy. I am deserving of happiness, of love. I deserve to have my own family. If you were like pushing men away because this happened to you when you were, 13 years old or 8. And it's not that all men are evil or predators or hate women. It's just that this person, or maybe, and then like the other men probably were here to show you that lesson. Because remember, everything, okay, so deeper in this conversation is that you. Let's say your soul, or on some level, you defined the experiences you were going to have as part of your soul's growth and evolution. And if you did not learn the lesson the first time, then you would, of course, have to repeat that lesson many times later until you finally get it. So, if you missed the gifts within the experience, if you did not remove the pearl from the oyster, then you had to endure that experience again and again and again and again and again until you finally learned the lesson, because it was there for you to heal and clear and resolve and let go and release some previous trauma. And all of this, or most of this, is on the unconscious level, I recognize. And maybe you can contemplate this. Maybe you can take this on faith, accept this. What if this were true? Then what would be the lesson that I need to learn? Such as to let go, to not hold on like a vice and be so rigid in blocking love from you, from other people, blocking yourself from feeling love. You see how that just comes out of this as the blessing within this experience? How much more loving you can be, and how you can always choose love as your response. You do not need to choose fear. You do not need to push people away because they might hurt you. You see how that's like keeping that one thing that happened alive within you and allowing it to be what stands between you and love. And why would you ever do that? Because your whole life is about experiencing love. Really hear that message. So why would you ever, and your whole life is about connection. It's about creating more connection, allowing more gifts and blessings and opportunities, and learning the lessons from the things that are happening to you. So if you're holding this thing off as like, oh, I can't go in that closet because that's my skeletons, that's the worst thing that I've ever experienced, and I'm not ready to deal with that because that's scary to me, well, then you're allowing that. It's like you are imprisoning yourself within that experience. Like if you're watching the video as a chapter leader through operationgreatness.com/leader, then you're seeing me like I'm holding my thumb to my middle finger, and I'm creating like a little O shape, like a small O, and it's like if that experience is that egg, like you put this massive layer of thick skin around whatever that experience was to protect yourself from the pain that caused you, it's almost like then you are forced to live within that very small shell, and you're blocking yourself from life, from love, from happiness, from meaningful relationships, meaningful connection with others. Because what if they hurt me? No, that means you're living your life in prison. The walls that you put up to protect yourself. Where were you doing that before now, before you faced your fears or felt your fears and did it anyway? And you went there because that was always the lesson, the blessing, the opportunity within what happened for you to recognize this does not define me. I am so much more than that one experience. And for you to heal and for you to reconnect with like that 6-year-old girl or 6-year-old boy, the one who had that experience. I mean, like I did this myself when, like I used to have health problems as a child. I had asthma, like in Phi Ed class, physical education class. Like we might have to climb a rope and where we might have to, do running or whatever. And I would get out of breath and I would be like winded and my chest would start hurting because I developed slower or later than other children. So like I was always like in generally among the last 3 people to be picked on the teams. Like, the captain would be maybe the best player in baseball or soccer or football, whatever it was. And I would be among the 3 least popular people there. They didn't want me on their teams because they knew that I couldn't run very fast or I would get winded or I didn't believe in myself. I had low self-esteem, so I wouldn't hit very well and I wouldn't catch very well. And because I was always afraid, like, what if I don't throw it very well and, whatever. So I didn't play well. So I was among the last 3 people. So I developed the feeling nobody wants me. I'm unworthy. I don't deserve. And that was a complete lie. I told myself. And so, like 6-year-old Danny, I had to sit down with him and say, something? Life gave you a difficult time with your health issues that I did outgrow, and that's not true that you're unlovable. I had to sit and talk with the little 6-year-old Danny who felt like nobody wanted him and he was unworthy. I mean, that's a little overly simplifying it because I also had a strong mind and I knew the answers to questions that other people didn't know. And, so I was like, the teacher knew that the teacher could call on me if no one else volunteered and I would have the answer. But I was always afraid, I was like, don't call on me, because if the teacher did call on me, then I would stutter or I would say something foolish and people would laugh at me. So that was what would happen. So I had confidence in myself, my intelligence, but I didn't feel like anybody wanted me because I was unlovable, I was unworthy, I was undeserving because of my life experiences. So I had to overcome all that. So sit down with your 6-year-old or whatever that was when this happened and show that young version of you that you are worthy, you are deserving, you do deserve love, you have value, you matter. I mean, really have the conversation so that cocoon is not shielding you as your prison walls from life, from love, from the happiness that you are so deserving, from the contributions you are here to share, to make, to give to the world. This is the lesson and the opportunity within whatever your unwanted experiences were, and the blessings within that is now you get to be that source of blessing and hope and inspiration within the lives of so many other good people who had this happen to them, and no one so far has been there to serve them and to show them how much they matter. You see that? You see how all of this was here to serve you. So let's go through all of your... Actually, I'm going to invite you to do this on your own. I'm going to ask you to take responsibility now for doing this. So let's make a list of like the 12 most stressful challenges that you have ever faced. I mean, I'll give you another. Look at all areas of your life. Anything that seems like it's an injustice or unfair or a problem, look at all of it and list all of it and then go through those three insights. How is this a lesson for me? What are the lessons within this for me? How is this a blessing for me? What are all the blessings within this for me? How is this an opportunity for me? What are all the opportunities within this for me? Ask yourself all of those questions for each of these 12 things in your life right now or throughout your whole life, the most stressful, challenging, upsetting things. Ask for each one of them and go deep. Think of it as peeling away the layers of the onion and go all the way to the core. How else was this meant to serve me? How else is this a blessing for me? What other lessons besides the main one are still within this for me to learn? What else can I learn from this? How else can I be of greater service to more people as a result of this? How can I turn this into a career? How can I make money from the opportunity this is for me? How can I serve more people by being of service to everyone I am blessed to serve who had this happen to them? How else can I profit from this opportunity? I mean, ask all of these questions for every one of these things. I mean, it could be little things too. I mean, like, for example, on Twitter, I have like 182,900 people, I think it was this morning, following me on Twitter. And yet, Twitter is oppressing my posts to the extent that only like 1 out of 1,000 people, that's 99.9% censorship, are not seeing my posts, because I typically get like 140 views out of 182,900, or 180 views, that would be 99.9% censored. And yet, so what is the lesson within this for me? There's so many answers to that question, like I can provide more value, I can give authentically to help people, and that is my gift, is the giving. And it did completely rewire my focus. It's not about me leading people to operationgreatness.com/leader to lead their own Operation Greatness chapters in their community. It's about me genuinely giving from the heart. And what happens after that is God's business, because I am here to be of service, and it is my gift to give the gift I am, or the message of love and hope and inspiration that God is using my voice to share. That is the gift itself. And this is serving God, or this is God, this is me being God's instrument for miracles, as you are absolutely here to be yourself. And that is it. It's the giving of the gift that is what this is about. And what happens after that is none of my business. The results are God's. So the right people will hear this message at the right time in their lives, and maybe I won't even be alive to receive anything from that. That's okay, because I trust in God. I surrender to God. You see how all of that comes out of just me asking that question, what is the lesson with Twitter suppressing 99.9% of my posts? Pretty profound, right? And life transformational. So share your thoughts about all of the gifts within everything happening to you in our Private Wealth Alliance, or at least in the Elevating Humanity community. All of this is it's yours at operationgreatness.com/leader. You are the inspired visionary leader the world needs now. So see that, see the gift within everything that happened to you and how it was there to serve you, and share your reflections on all of this. How is this the most important message you have ever heard? When you hold it that way, when you see how everything has been a gift, an opportunity, a lesson, a blessing to serve you. You're receiving that blessing and those opportunities and learning from those lessons, and you're living so much more positively, and you're having the impact your life is meant to have. You are the gift. You are God's gift to the world, after all. If you want me to coach you through any of this personally, then let's do that through our Chapter Leader Private Wealth Alliance, which is yours at operationgreatness.com/leader. You are the leader the world needs now, so be it. So be that leader. You have so much gifts to share. You deserve all the happiness, joy, fulfillment, well-being, peace of mind, success, prosperity, meaning, contribution, impact. It is your destiny. It is your gift. It is your blessing. It is your opportunity to have. So receive that now. Allow yourself to be that gift. We're doing this together. I'm here to help you. We all are through operationgreatness.com/leader. Everything that happened to you is there to serve you. Receive that fully right here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, I would love you to go back to the beginning of this conversation and share your posts. Share your insights about each point, how you're receiving this, how you're thinking about it, what are your examples of this being true, what are the lessons within each of these 12 things, or 15 or 100, whatever you've done. How deep do you want to go? Go all the way here and share your posts and lead every one of your online friends through doing this for themselves, because you can transform their lives, and they can transform the lives of all of their friends by receiving this message. And in all of your posts, link back to this Operation Greatness chapter meeting, and do this through your Operation Greatness chapter link, because this is financial freedom money for everyone who's doing this through operationgreatness.com/leader. And then take all the posts that you're making as you are leading and growing and transforming and inspiring everyone connected with you, being that source of lesson, blessing, and opportunity in their lives. You're that source for them. You're that contribution and that gift in their lives by sharing this message with them, by leading them through doing this work for themselves. And then take all these posts that you're making and put them in the essay that you're sending me at dan@danclatt.com. We're doing this together through operationgreatness.com/leader. You are the inspired visionary leader the world needs now. I'm so grateful for you receiving this message, because you are God's gift to the world, and you're receiving God completely through this message. Thank you very much. I love you. I believe in you. I know how much you matter, and I'm so grateful for you hearing this yourself now and being that gift. Thank you.